Hello and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name's Marta. Today is the 30th of September and I have something a little bit different for you today, as Guerilla Games has posted a Killzone Shadowfall Q&A online which does actually address numerous frequently asked questions regarding the game's multiplayer mode. Now they discuss several things including the PS4 frame rates, use of dedicated servers, game customization and of course the weapon system. Now, I'm going to just go through the most interesting points, ones that I feel that are most pressing, that I want to talk about the most and feel like you guys would enjoy the most. But of course, I will put a link to the full Q&A if you would like to give it a read yourself. It is quite an interesting read. The thing that you guys probably want to know is probably the frames per second, and they were asked, will Killzone Shadowfall multiplayer have a variable frame rate? And they said, quote, no, we're running 60 FPS. However, the game may drop a few frames in extreme situations when there are a lot of GPU-intensive things going on at once. Guaranteeing a constant 60 FPS under such circumstances would have required undesired concessions. We wanted to make sure Killzone Shadowfall multiplayer would present a visual spectacle boasting a stunning level of detail in 1080p at 60 FPS, while still allowing 24 players and their drones, which is effectively 48 entities, to take part at once. We're very proud of the results. When you move through the maps, you'll notice a lot of intricate details, from beautiful reflective surfaces to individually moving leaves on the foliage. Now, one of the frequently asked questions was, what happened to X class from the previous Killzone games? And obviously, insert class here in the X part. I'm assuming they were asked this about numerous classes, and they did give some information about the classes involved in the game and so forth. So they said, quote, there are now 3 classes to choose from in Killzone Shadowfall: Assault class, Support class, and Scout class. Classes from previous Killzone titles, such as Tactician, Engineer, and Medic, are now represented by the secondary abilities of the highly versatile Support class. We'll have more on the Support class and the Scout class in upcoming Killzone.com articles. So basically, those roles are now being taken by the Support class secondary abilities, but there will be more information on both the Support and Scout classes on their website, so I guess just keep your eyes peeled. And as you might expect, they were asked about rocket launchers, and they were asked, will rocket launchers be secondary weapons like in Killzone 3? And they said, quote, rocket launchers aren't secondary weapons like they were for certain classes in Killzone 3. Instead, grenade launchers and rocket launchers will be available as attachments for the heavier primary weapons. This means less weapon switching in the heat of battle. And kind of leading into this, there was a question regarding hip firing rather than aiming down sight, and is that still possible within the game? And they said, quote, if you're one of those players endowed with dead aim, you'll be happy to know that hip firing a weapon without using the sights, is still an option in Killzone Shadowfall multiplayer. Some weapons can only be fired by aiming down sights, however, particularly the heavier or more dangerous ones, which is fair enough. I suppose you don't really want to hip fire a rocket or grenade launcher, for example. Now, there was a rather interesting question that I definitely want to cover in this particular video. It was, can challenges be completed in bots-only Warzone? So basically, can you just play only bots and still get challenge rewards and so forth? And they said, quote, to emphasize true skill and prevent players from artificially boosting their stats, custom Warzone games featuring bots will not count towards completing challenges in the progression system. Which is, sure, a huge sigh of relief, because that would just be way too easy for someone to set up multiple games with bots and just spam and level up and get stats without actually contributing anything and earning those points, essentially, in real-life games, either with randomers online or with their friends or what have you. Now, one of the key points that was addressed was, what is Killzone Shadowfall's multiplayer network structure like? Now, of course, the netcode of the multiplayer is going to be obviously the topic of much scrutiny once the game actually comes out. And they said, quote, Killzone Shadowfall has dedicated servers hosted in various regions around the world. These servers do not run the logic of the game. They act only as a hub between the clients, forwarding network traffic from one player in-game to all other players in-game. This allows people with a slower connection or strict firewall settings to play without issues. Almost all logic relating to you, e.g. moving, shooting and taking damage, runs on your local PS4, with only a very small portion of the game logic, i.e. mission scoring logic, running on the Session Master, one PS4 in the game selected for its connection quality. So essentially what that means is if you have a slower connection or an unstable connection or one that's not so amazing, you don't have to worry too much, as most of the actual hard work is being done by the console itself, and of course the person with the best connection quality will be chosen as the session master. So it seems like they've definitely taken into consideration that not everyone has an amazing internet connection, and of course even at the best of times, even the best internets have their problems, have slowdown periods, or even just randomly fall over for no apparent reason. So it's nice to see that they have taken that into consideration. And one thing they did answer that you guys may have been curious about is that Killzone will offer colorblind support. So there you have it. There are more questions asked regarding some balance issues and things like that, but I think I've covered the things that people want to know the most, that I find quite interesting and that I think you guys will find quite interesting. But as I did discuss at the beginning of the video, if you want to go and give the full thing a read, as I says, it is an interesting read, so if you're into this, I suggest you do. The link will be in the description for your perusal. Anyway, that is me done for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.